Are live. Welcome to the Anyone Can Farm live chat Thursday night edition. Today's August 18th, 2022. And for our interviewees tonight, our guinea pigs, we're going to have Dion and Amy Stumpo from Stumpos Abundant Acres. And a little bit from me, I've known these guys, I guess it's going on year 3. They showed up here. Only a year 2? We must be over 2.
2020.
Or will it this fall be 2?
We did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A hog harvest in 2022.
Okay.
So almost 2 years.
2020, yeah,
Well,
so 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been a good 2 years. By the way, I got the information here. Jill brought it in.
Oh,
I'm good shape. That's all right. All right. So it would be not this last fall, but the fall before. Dion and Amy came to a Homestead hog harvest, and I guess we've been kind of fast friends ever since. They're a young family, and they're wanting to be homesteaders, and we're always, kind of leaning forward to spend time with people and fellowship and stuff, and we've had a lot of laughs, actually. And if you guys don't know, this woman right here is the one who had the idea for the Tribe Day. It came out of her yap first, I believe. Is that correct?
That was one of my better ideas in life. I mean, other than marrying him and stuff like that.
Yep.
Good one.
And it worked out pretty good. This was our second year this year, and I think there was 100 adults this time and like 50 children. So we had a pretty good load of people, and boy, was it fun. I think we just had a great time. We have
cool ideas for next year too. Next year's going to be the best yet. It's going to be pretty good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So maybe we could start off by having you kind of introduce yourself one at a time, like where you're from, all the particulars like that, and then go into like the how, the when, and the why of why you are homesteading, and just enlighten our audience, because it's real interesting to people to find out who else is doing this and why and how they're doing it. Okay.
Right.
So who would like to begin?
Dion's going to go first as soon as he's done with
right.
Little Dion is home, and he wants to watch the live stream from the living room while we're doing this. So we were trying to get him hooked. So I think we're all set now.
Yeah.
All right.
My name's Dion. Been married to Amy for 13 plus. I'm originally from the suburbs of Chicago. I did not grow up on a farm. I moved to Michigan in grade school. Work full-time as a paramedic. Do personal finance on the side. Help her run her family business. We run our farm. A lot of different things, and doing this has been great. I mean, jack of all trades, master of none. So,
yeah, I'm Amy. I was born and raised about 15 miles from where we live now. We did spend 6 years in Sault Ste. Marie when we first got married. We went to college up there, then we got married, and we stayed for a while till little Dion was about 1. And then we thought, kids should probably have grandparents and stuff. So we moved home, and I work as a retail manager. My grandfather started a clothing store in 1974. And then when he died in 1994, my dad took over that. And so he's now training me to take over that when he is ready to retire, which will probably be a while, but
Okay.
So that's what we do. That's off the farm. And we have 3 kids, and we homeschool them. So that's a fun adventure.
And no prior farming experience for us.
All right. So it doesn't sound likely that you would say, okay, we want to be into a farming operation. What was the incident that pushed you over the edge?
China virus.
The China virus.
COVID happened, and going to the grocery store and the shelves being empty, it was one of those, well, we've been talking about getting pigs. Let's get some pigs. So after 2 or 3 weeks of trying to find pigs, finally found some from a commercial operation we could buy, bought them, and then learned that you really couldn't get stuff into a processor. And we discovered you on YouTube, and a farm not far from us was having issues with their township that you were helping them with. And hey, this guy teaches a class. Maybe we should go to his place and check it out. And we came to Hog Harvest, and the next weekend we butchered 2 pigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And you came here for consulting that one time a while ago, remember? And you were like laughing at our setup because we were so like, oh, let's get pigs. And we just kind of like stuck them in the yard, and our fencing was like 2 lines of electric.
Very temporary.
Like super temporary and shoddy looking. And you were like, that can't stay. Like, no, fix it. So we have since fenced in about 6 of our 10 acres with barbed wire.
Okay.
So all the animals stay within the barbed wire. Now.
Yeah. That whole consulting thing, you got to be a little careful. You can hurt people's feelings pretty easily.
Yeah, it was pretty shoddy, though. You weren't wrong.
Yeah.
We cried a lot.
They stayed in. They stayed in.
We did
good.
years after you left. We were like, Mark is so mean. That didn't happen.
Yeah. So you're doing more than just keeping a few pigs there. Tell us what else you have going on your place, and the approximate acreage and how it started.
All right, so we're gonna rewind a little from where we started that story.
Okay.
In 2018, we bought this piece of property.
10 acres.
10 acres. And we kind of had this idea that like we'll get out in the country. It'll be like a little more peaceful. We won't hear the neighbors' dogs barking. We had one really cool neighbor and one really not cool neighbor when we lived in town. So we were like, oh, we'll move out in the country. We got property. We were like, oh, we can hunt, And then that first fall that we were here, we did not see like a single deer all fall. We got a trail cam, and then we found one, and then the pigs happened. So then we kind of had like our eggs and pork. So like that was all set. We grew a garden one year. So we kind of had like this food security thing going a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I would like look at the grocery budget, and I was going to the store and like, what do we have? What am I spending the most money on? And the answer was dairy. So one day I came home and I was like, we should just get a cow because we're spending a lot of money on dairy.
Okay.
And so it was kind of funny. And then all of a sudden we had a cow. And she died after she gave birth to her little baby that's still in the backyard. He's not anymore. And then we got a new one.
You skipped a lot there.
I skipped some. He'll go back and fill in the gaps for me.
We left Hog Harvest with 2 or 3 pigs in our van.
Oh, yeah. You were like, we'll give you a dog crate to haul them home in.
So we left with a few pigs, some part of breeding stock, came back up, got some more pigs. We got our boar, and then our 2 kids bought some pigs from you. And then
they had birthday money, and they wanted to spend it on their own eggs that they could like sell the pork.
So Uncle Mark hooked them up with some pigs and came home, and 3 pigs got out. 1 got stomped by the neighbor's horse. 1 ran off and ended up in somebody else's freezer, and we kept the other.
Yeah. So
then we got more pigs from Baker's Green Acres. And then it was, you should get a dairy cow. Like, we were kind of asking you a lot of questions and thinking about it, and you're like, just do it. And so last April, actually, we found a Craigslist listing, drove an hour, came home with a Jersey cow that was pregnant and milk. And it's been great. Right now we have, what's on our farm? So for pigs, we've got 2 sows and a boar.
The boar is that really big one we got from Susan Greaves.
Oh, yeah.
He's like 600 pounds at least. I mean, he's just huge. He's not very threatening though, because he's so big. He's just like fat and lazy.
He'd rather
lays there all day,
smoke and watch TV. That's what he likes to do. And then we got 6 feeders for chickens, I don't know. We got like a dozen,
Like a dozen
hens. We got 5 guineas we just got for bug
Ooh.
control. And then for cows, we got our Jersey. That's in milk and hopefully pregnant. I got to call Joe about preg checking her. And then we have our cow that died had a bull when we steered it. We castrated it, so it's steered. And then we have a Black Angus heifer we're raising for beef, as well as we got a little Jersey or
little Holstein.
Holstein.
It was supposed to be an Agnes, but the guy or Angus.
There was some white
but the
stress.
guy that ordered it, the
So
yeah. Anyway, it's a Holstein.
So we got 3 cows with our Jersey. So we got a whole operation going on.
Okay. And had you ever butchered any animals before you came to the Homestead Hog Harvest?
Oh, we did a deer once that he hit with my car.
I've cut a few deer up, but other than that, no.
Okay. Okay. That was a big step, wasn't it? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
But
for this
you guys
one.
kind of got in a kind of a pinch, though, didn't you?
Yeah, we had 2 pigs, and we need to fill our freezer. So.
Yeah. And
yeah,
wasn't there a problem getting in during the Wu flu?
Yeah, because we bought the pigs thinking we would just take them over and have them processed when it was time. Like that was just the plan. So we went and bought the pigs without ever checking. We didn't. There was like a backlog. So the pigs would have been ready like mid-November, and the earliest that the butchers, any butcher around here could get us in wasn't till like February. And I was like, I don't want to feed a pig that much extra, like that seemed crazy. And then it was kind of like, well, we would pay the same amount to go take the hog harvest class as we would pay the butcher to do it for. Except that if we paid for the class, we would know how to do it ourselves the next year. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the one-time expense was good forever versus paying it annually. So it really was the better deal for us. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise kind of thing. Plus we met you. So
yeah. Well, you figure you got another, I'd say 40 more years to be butchering pigs. So you'll definitely get your money out of the class.
Yeah.
And then you'll hopefully pass it on to some other folks. So I understand that you've built a processing facility on your farm. Can you tell us about that?
Work in progress. The building itself is up. We built 30 by 40 pole barn. And it's really helped streamline just our life on the farm, actually. Because the only outbuildings we had here was a semi shed and a very small shed. So feed storage, any of that type of thing, milking, there was always a next hurdle to overcome. So now we have the barn up. We milk in there. We have water out there year round.
Oh boy, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not finished. It's not heated yet, but like we got electricity in it, got water in it, got a gas line ran out to it. We can hook our generator up out there to power the house and keep our freezers going.
Okay.
So it's a work in progress. We cut up pigs in there last year. And we'll do it again this year, even though it's not finished.
And we milk the cow in there now. Like that may get moved to a lean-to or something else later on. But I remember the first night we got our very first dairy cow. It was pouring rain when we got home, and we had to milk her. And we had no facility. Like we had to do it outside. And it was we were all soaked. The kids were like crying, and we were like, we have to get the milk out though. We'd never milked before. It was a mess. It was like very tragic. And then by the time we came inside though, everybody was laughing and we were like, we did it.
Yeah.
Try again in the morning.
That right there is the
memories though, right?
It gives you bragging rights.
Yeah. But now we get to milk in the barn, and in the winter, that's really nice. It might still be a little chilly, but you're definitely out of the elements. So
yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is there any, do you feel as though you're going to be instructors going into the future, teaching some of these things like on your on your property?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
want to.
And actually this year with harvesting our hogs is to invite a couple of friends over. We missed getting on your schedule to do hog harvest here. The weekend we have in our schedule to do it is the same weekend that you guys have the class at the de Klerks. So we will invite some friends, some local friends over, and we'll kind of do our pigs and run it as if it's a class and make sure everything goes smoothly. And then probably next fall, we plan to have you come out and teach an actual class.
You sure there's not a weekend we can't do that? It can't be only one weekend. Well, I guess
we can talk offline.
We'll talk. Yeah, we can compare schedules maybe.
Okay.
And see what's up.
So I think that's going to be a real fun one down at the Clerks. They have a kind of a neat group of people around them, but you guys do too. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a tremendous opportunity because when I go to, like when I went to Sean's place out in Texas, completely different group of people.
Right.
And then I made contacts out there with really diverse people. And some of them have wound up out here, as we talked about a little earlier. The Bachers wound up out here.
Right.
So, and then I've met the Herons through you guys, which has been kind of fun.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, we kind of have a little bit of a bird's eye view of a direction that you're going. Can you tell us, well, before we get there, let's tell us why, well, the ins and outs of why you wanted to do this. I mean, you guys could be doing anything with your lives. Why did you want to do this? What's the why? And I kind of like a broad spectrum. I kind of know, but I'd like you to tell the audience why. I know because I know you, why you did it.
Right. I think it started as like a food security thing. We've kind of already gone over that, but as we've progressed into it, the community of homesteaders that surrounds us is like, it's unmatchable, right? Like you can find a community anywhere your kids go to school. There's like the PTA, the community there, whatever. But it seems to me that the community of homesteaders around Michigan, or even, some from Tribe Day come even farther than that. And it's like a family reunion, even though we all showed up in the morning as strangers. Yeah. It's crazy, like the bond that we have. And we notice, even as a family, just the five of us, the family bond that it creates to all work together at this thing that's far greater than ourselves. We could all take up golf and we could teach our kids to be really good golfers, but that doesn't serve a purpose.
Right.
Whereas this really and we're teaching our kids, invaluable skills.
Okay.
So I don't know, do you add there?
I think you hit it.
Go ahead, Dee. You hit it?
No, my answer was perfect. So there's no other
That was
addition.
good.
Okay.
Well, you guys did something a little different that I haven't really heard of or thought of, but I think it really yielded. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about your kids and how the homestead affects them. Like their ages too would be interesting.
Okay. So our son is 11, and then we have two daughters that are 9 and 7. So, before we had animals, when we were at home, it was always, can I play my tablet, play the computer, watch TV, just a bunch of waste of time. But like, if for some reason Amy or I couldn't go out and do anything on this farm for a day, the kids could go out and run this farm in a heartbeat. Like, either of our girls or our son could go out, get the cow, milk her, take care of the milk, clean the milk machine. Our 9-year-old, if we needed her to, she could put down a whole batch of chickens by herself. It's just amazing the resilience and the things they learned from being a part of this thing. 'Cause it's not just what Amy and I are doing. It's it's really a family affair. You know, we joke around and I'm like, yeah, that's our staff. We got our staff handling that.
Yeah.
But
We learned that joke from you. It's pretty good though.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like with your kids. Like Jill posted something on the tribe the other day of Frank taking a chicken order and like knew exactly what to say, what questions to ask, and like, you know, it's pretty cool to watch our kids be able to take on those responsibilities around the place of like, wow, you were paying attention, you were listening, and like,
Yeah.
and it's skills that a lot of their friends don't have or know how to do, and like if something's with the way the world's going, it's like they need those skills just as much as we do.
Yeah.
Probably more so. We did have, I'm going to add to that, this really cool experience last month on the 30th of July. We put down our first batch of chickens, and we had the Herons come over and help with their kids. And my mom and stepdad really wanted to come and learn how to butcher chickens. We had some friends come over and borrow our equipment to do like theirs while my mom was here babysitting the kids. And they were just like so amused. They came from the generation before chicken pluckers. So they like plucked their chickens by hand. I don't know why they didn't just skin them, but apparently the way you did it back then is the staff, children, plucked every single chicken, one feather at a time by hand. So they just thought this piece of equipment was so cool. They were like, we want to come help you butcher chickens. So we're like, okay. So they came over. They had a blast. My stepdad still is like running around telling all his friends about how cool it was to butcher our chickens. He can't wait to come back and do the next ones. But my mom had always been the kid who plucked the chickens. She had never done any of the rest before. And our 9-year-old taught her grandma how to eviscerate a chicken, like how to cut the right size hole, how to get the lungs out, how all the parts of how to, and it was really cool to watch, you know, this information that we had given her that she loves to help with. And she was able to teach it to, you know, 2 generations above herself.
Yeah.
It was really cool to watch.
Yeah. No, that is special. That is really special. I know these people's kids pretty good because they've been here quite a bit. And Hannah likes to get me to challenge her. Like she stands by me and she wants me to ask her to do something. Yeah. And she'll stay there just as long as I'll let her, you know. She's real nice, real nice. All the kids are nice. Can you tell us about Little House on the Prairie Day? I think this
was that what you were alluding to when you were like, you did this cool thing with your kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
started because of COVID again.
Started because of COVID. COVID, like, while I think that the intent may have been to like ruin us, our family grew so much. Like, I would not go back and undo that. We've had so much good come out of it. But the year of COVID, was like in the evenings, you know, we used to maybe like go get ice cream or go out and, you know, do something, get together with friends. And it was kind of like, there just wasn't much going on during COVID. So I had this idea that I read a chapter book aloud to our kids every night before bed. That would be how we spent our evenings. So we picked up the Little House on the Prairie series. And by the time we had read through all of the books, it was like spring, and in like time that most people would be like going on vacation to like a place, like everything was closed because COVID, and anything that was open, they wanted you to wear a mask. And I wasn't dealing with it. So instead of visiting a place for our family vacation that year, we visited a time period. And so we went back to the days of the House on the Prairie, and we shut all the bedroom and bathroom doors. We got a little like outhouse outside, and we used the hose as if we were like walking down to the river to get water, or like had a well in the backyard as they did at one point. You had to go like out, fill the buckets with water though to wash the dishes and heat it all. And the whole thing, we all slept in the living room. Like we had this little tiny 1-room house. And I wasn't sure first off, when I gave my husband the idea, I thought he was going to be like, no. And he was like, that sounds awesome. Let's do this. So the kids were like, wait, you know what? By the end of the first week, we did it in the spring, I think like May of 2021, maybe.
We did it a little too. It was April.
This year it was April. Okay. And the kids, by the time we were done, the kids were like, can we do it again in the fall? Then my busy season at work is fall, so I didn't have a lot of time to plan it in the fall. So, but we did it again this spring, too early in the year, and it was really cold because we don't use the heat in the house, no furnace, and we don't have wood heat yet. So it was just whatever the temperature was, that's what it was. So it was pretty
okay.
So it was a ton of fun though, and our kids really look forward to it every year. I don't know if they still will when they're teenagers, but it's a lot of fun now. We make a lot of memories. We wash all of our clothes in a wash tub by hand, wring them all out by hand. All of our food is made from scratch.
Yep.
All the things. It's pretty cool.
Like you spend.
I do spend half the day cooking. It's absurd. And the kids, we work all day. We get so much done on the farm. It's like we make a list of everything that we want to get done for the season. And it all happens. Even though we don't have like the modern technologies or whatever, because we're like old timey. There was this one chapter in the Little House on the Prairie, some of you might remember it, where Pa got out the checkers board and he taught the girls to play checkers. And they played 2 rounds of checkers. And then he was like, okay, we got to put it away. We're getting idle. Like they didn't sit idle like at all. They worked all the time. Everything they did was productive. So we really focus on that during Little House on the Prairie week. And we get so much done. I think this year we had a list, like a really long list of stuff we were going to do. And by like 3 days in, it was all done. We were like, oh, now what?
So anyway, tell me again, how many days did you do this?
5 days, I think.
5 or 6.
5 days. Wow. That sounds like fun.
It was.
It is. It's really enjoyable.
You guys can come visit next time. There'd be right across the street, and you could have electricity and running water there, but we wouldn't.
Did you actually throw the breaker at the house?
No, we actually still use the refrigerator.
Okay.
But we didn't use any lights. We used candles.
Yeah, candles, no lights.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no
we did
TV.
still use the fridge.
No TV.
No TV.
Oh,
the TV actually gets tucked away in a bedroom because we have to have all the space in the living room for the beds.
Yeah. Huh. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think in a lot of ways that our modern conveniences, they kind of own us after a while.
Yeah.
I give into it big time. Like I like to watch documentaries. And so when we get done here, I'm going to eat dinner in front of the TV. So that's just my thing that I like to do. But yeah, we live pretty primitive lifestyle too. I guess not that primitive though.
Right.
I can see it. When I was a kid, we went to this place called Old Sturbridge Village. It was in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. And it was a 1860s town. And the people that worked there, they dressed the part. And they, if a guy was a wheelwright, that's what he did. He made wheels all day, or a cooper, or bakers and candlestick makers, all that stuff. And that had a serious impression on me as a young kid, seeing that type of community and the productivity that they just had to be productive. And it seemed like everything they did had more than one use.
Yeah.
Like they were always trying to dovetail their processes so they would get more bang for the buck. All right. Well, I got a couple of questions here, and this I think people will find this kind of interesting. Can you talk a little bit about homestead economics? Is this penciling out, or are you trying to make it pencil out? What I mean by that is, are you gaining, or is this just a hobby, that's costing you money, like playing golf?
No, I would. This is not just a hobby. If this was a hobby, I would not be doing it because it can get frustrating when the cow gets out 3 days in a row, or your cow randomly dies. I can't say I've crunched all the numbers. Like I crunched the numbers
on milk though,
on a dairy cow. So because maybe we should just get rid of the dairy cow and just do beef because of time and cost and all that stuff. And we got 3 little mouths, and I was like, okay, when we were buying milk and all the dairy, I figured $15 a week is 3 gallons of milk a week. And
plus half and half for our coffee.
Plus whatever other things we'd get, like half and half or that type of thing. And I calculated it out for the year, and I'm like, for what we're spending on bringing in hay and our time, we're way ahead. Dollar wise, just in dollars, we're ahead. Like it was going to be like $1,300 or $1,400 a year on just milk and milk products.
Yeah.
Versus with our cow, we're maybe spending $600 a year on hay, and then just our time, which 30, 40 minutes a day, and we're done.
Yeah.
So, and then we can sell the extra milk for extra profit as well. I mean, we have like some form of herd shares.
We sell it, we trade it, we give it away, we do all the things with the milk.
We barter.
We barter
a lot.
I barter chickens and pork. Like our neighbor, an excavator for me to borrow for a week, and I'm home with a bag of food, and he thinks he made out, and I think I made out.
Yeah.
So there's those intangible things that you really can't, like. His excavator's probably spent 3 or 4 weeks here, and he's given us 2 greenhouses to use for gardening this year. I have one of his greenhouses full of hay for the winter that he's letting me store there. So it's like, money can't buy that kind of like.
Right.
So like we saw his wife today. We're like, hey, stop by when you're done at your rental house and we'll give you some chickens. She's like, what? Because I told her husband, like, yeah, we'll give you guys some chickens, different things, because he's always helping us out. And he's like, great. And I'm like, stop by, grab. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, stop by. She's like, well, I got to make room in my freezer. I said, well, when you're ready, we got them in our freezer. They're yours, and there's more coming to you. And we'll probably give them a pig, and because they're always helping us, and we want to return the favor. But the economics of it, we were looking at getting rid of our pigs actually because of the amount we were spending on feed.
Scrounging is cool.
You have to scrounge, and this last late winter, early spring, local brewery, I reached out to them before, and they were all set. Someone was picking up their spent grain, but they said, hey, you still interested? And I said, absolutely. And so now beside any forage we grow, they get spent grain, and that's evened us back out, because otherwise it's like we're spending way too much on pig feed every month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, the economics of it, like you got to find a scrounge deal on it, or win the lottery.
Right. I remember you said a long time ago, like somebody was saying, like, what should we feed to our pigs? And you were like, pretty much anything but hog chow would work. Hog chow, I mean, it's very expensive for what it is, honestly. Like it's not that good of quality nutrition for a pig for the amount you spend on it. Not when you can get a lot of stuff for free. I mean, in the fall, if you get one of the like acorn picker upper roller things and you go to like the local park, you can pick up pounds of acorns for free.
Yeah. Boy, do I know about that. My kids have a blast doing that too.
Mm-hmm.
We call it acorning. when Frank was a little kid.
It's a whole nother side hobby, hey?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like, we have like the Buckley Steam show that we got to go to. That's one of the things we do in the course of the year. And then when the acorns start falling, it's like, we got to go acorning. You got to go acorn. Doesn't everybody go acorning? And Frank was the one that coined that phrase. And he said to Kyle, Frank was just a little guy, and he says, hey, Kyle, you want to go acorning with us? So ever since then, we've called it acorning.
So yeah, we watch our expenses, like, and we budget things, and it's like, okay. But we had an incident here. So after many times of scolding the children of, if you open the lamb feed, you need to tell somebody, not wait till it's on. So we were gone last week, and we had a farm sitter, and they opened the last bag of feed. And I was at work on Tuesday, and Amy calls me and goes, our daughter just came up to me crying. And I go, why? She goes, because she used the last of the last bag of feed, but she didn't open it. I said, our farm sitter probably didn't just tell us.
She was like, I used the rest of the chick feed and there's no more. And I was like, okay, who opened the last bag? I don't know, but it wasn't me, Mom. I promise it wasn't me.
But it was one of those, well, we're not running to town right this minute, so we fed them some spent grain and they loved it.
Yeah.
They ate it up. Just one of those, you don't need to run to town for every crisis. Look around and see what you got, like something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, when it comes to chickens, I kind of think that they're made to eat whatever too.
Yeah.
You remember on the Waltons? Did you ever watch the Waltons? They'd be out there and throwing chicken feed out. So the chickens be out wandering around. You got to give them something, but if you don't give them something, they'll find something.
Right.
It's not like they're going to go without. And the scraps from the house can all go to the chickens. We do give ours feed, but we defray their feed as much as we possibly can with bread. And if we butcher a pig, a lot of the fat will go to them. And if we have bones that have a lot of little pieces of meat on it, that will go to the chickens and they'll clean them off. And then the bones come out of there and we make char out of them.
Right.
So, yeah, chickens, I'm going through this thing where I'm re-looking at the processes that I haven't given any time to in a long time. And chickens is one of them because it's sort of like, the kids take care of that. I don't even look at them anymore. I don't have names for them or anything. It's just, but they are really good animals. And if you give them enough room to cruise around, they'll make eggs out of clover. So it's a pretty nice conversion.
This thought just occurred to me while you were talking through, we give them the bones, they pick the rest of the meat off it, we make biochar. And I think maybe part of the economics of making a homestead work is doing more than one thing because it all cycles through each other, right? You said, we butcher a pig, then we give the chickens the fat and the bones, and then we make the biochar, which we then feed back to the chickens, just raising chickens probably is not going to be as economical if you're not raising or doing something else too, where the systems feed off of each other. And the more that you have, the more of that you can reuse and redo.
Right. Yeah, I think you can, when you're doing your planning, your farm planning, there's certain things that you're just probably going to do, like chickens and pigs and maybe milk cows. But then when you add something to it, it better fit in someplace else. Like if you're going to add, like one of the things we do, everybody knows this, but we have a chicken processing business. So when we process chickens, we wind up with a whole lot of just wet feathers. They're not really good for much, but the composting operation does really well with it.
Right.
So it does go. Nothing's going out to the trash. Nothing's leaving the farm except, stuff that goes in the tidy that probably could stay here. We could probably reduce it down, but some stuff's got to go to the trash, I guess.
Right.
The beer bottles probably they got to go. Let's see. Okay, so would you agree with me, and could you comment on a lot of times when I talk about profitability, I mean, are you making gains? Are you making a gain? Would you comment on that and what you see as gains from what you're doing?
So in terms of dollars, no. Gains in terms of
But okay, so financial gains is not our goal. Our goal is to feed ourselves and our children. And I feel like right now, and that could change in the future. Right now, our goal would be to feed ourselves and our children for free, in terms of we would just sell enough of what was raised off of our farm that money can be reinvested into the processes, the hay and the chicken feed and everything else that we actually are spending dollars on to make the farm go. And I would be totally set if we were breaking even. I think eventually, as we continue to grow, there will be some profit, and I certainly won't complain about that.
Okay.
But our initial goal is that we be feeding ourselves without paying
Okay.
the money for that. And I think we're pretty close.
We're pretty close.
We come pretty close.
Like in terms of assets, like I'm looking out my window right now, and like this spring the ground was bare where we had our turkeys last fall. Like they demolished the grass. Like I was like, wow, they were really hard on my yard. But we ran the chicken tractors over it a month and a half ago, and now it's lush green grass. Like the soil is now healed and it's growing and producing, and like we're clearing this overgrown property. We got cows out there stomping, manuring, fertilizing, doing their thing. And like if we moved tomorrow, I mean, the place is a way more fertile place. It's a way better place for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when I like, is it adding value? I'd say absolutely it's adding value, even though there might not be dollars in the pocket, but the fertility of the ground and just being a good steward of this place. Like, I mean, this was overgrown, handy. I mean, just poor soil conditions. And anywhere we've ran our animals, like there's soil coming back, the grass is coming in thicker and better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aside from where our pigs are presently at, like everything's better since we've added animals and started working the land.
And I think in terms of, you had already asked about gains. So like specifically financial gains, that's kind of where it's at. But then there are all the like non-financial gains, like as he's talked about, or, the community is
It's
definitely,
huge.
I mean, like you can't put a price on that. There's not a dollar amount. Bill Gates doesn't have enough money to buy the community that we have.
Right.
And the family, the bonding and the skills that we're passing on to our kids, and just the value of this lifestyle, is, I mean, that's not financially,
Money
you can't buy it.
It's one of those, what would you do if you won $1 million? I'd buy another farm, more infrastructure on it, and maybe a little closer to where we work off farm. But otherwise, this is who we are. This is what we like to do.
Yeah.
Okay. That was
answered
what I was looking for. I mean,
Okay.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I
Mhm.
wouldn't really want to do anything else besides what I'm doing. Sometimes when I go to the beach, I think, well, we could sell the farm and we could move out here to the beach and watch the sun go down, but that would get old.
Mhm.
No, this is it for me. I'm where I want to be. And for me, one of the gains is meeting people like you guys. Actually, it's a joy to find other people that think what I'm doing is cool. Because believe it or not, there's people that think, you're just wasting your time. You just don't really want to go get a real job. People say that. It's kind of hurtful, but
we hear some
They say some
bizarre
stupid
things
stuff.
as well.
Yeah.
And they're kind enough to say it to our face, I think.
Well, at least they give us a
say,
chance to
like,
defend ourselves.
I'm just like, but yet they're the same people that go, well, when crap hits the fan, I'm kind of like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
We have enough food to feed the 5 of us. We don't have enough food to feed all 58 of you. So,
yeah. What do you think if someone was to say to you, well, I think there's going to be food shortages. Is there any way that I can, pay ahead so that I can be fed what have you thought about that scenario?
It's crossed my mind that I would say it would be a case by case scenario. It's one of those, if they come, are they going to be an asset or a liability? You always talk about that. Like, if they come, like, okay, what are you bringing to the table? Like, I mean, dollars are okay, but in a crisis, dollars don't mean anything. So, like, what can you do? Like, are you handy in the kitchen? Handyman? Can you build stuff? Can you repair stuff? Can you weld? Can you wrench on a car if need be? Like, what are you bringing to the table? So I would say it'd be a case by case basis. I don't want to say it's a flat no, but I'm be very particular, and I would say talk to me before the crap hits the fan, because preparation is everything.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're kind of getting close. I got a couple more questions here. This one's a doozy.
Okay. Oh,
Well, this was number one, and it's can you walk us through what a day looks like on your place, for the two of you and the kids? Can you just walk us through a day?
Ooh, so I work off farm 2 to 3 days a week. And when I say 2 to 3 days a week, I mean 2 to 3 24 shifts off farm as a paramedic. And then I also work a side job doing personal finance stuff. And then I also work with her at the family business. She works off farm 3 to 4 days a week, 8 to 10 hour days. On chores usually take us about an hour when things are running smooth. Like come home from work, one of us and a kid does the cow, milks the cow, cleans the machine, takes care of the milk. Another one kid makes sure the pigs are taken care of, watered, fed. Another kid makes sure all the chickens are eggs collected, chickens fed, watered. If the meat birds need to be moved, they come get one of us so we can help them move them. But I mean, all that takes about 40 minutes a day. Now, there's other things that come up, like every other week, got to spray out the water trough for the cow really good and maybe scrub it with some Clorox. That takes 20 minutes. Got to put some more hay out, 15, 20 minutes here and there. But the day to day, really, it's if we spend it too much time almost. So
I think like one person, like if the kids were all like at their friend's house and he was at work, if I was to do the chores myself, it would maybe take me an hour, maybe an hour and minutes to do everything.
Okay.
So, like 40 minutes is man minutes with well-trained kids, but I still think, as busy as we are off farm, it's worth the hour. I mean, you have 24 of them in a day, so why wouldn't you one of them doing something that's this fruitful? What else would you spend that hour on? Like surfing Facebook or watching TV? There's not really much else you can do in an hour that's as fruitful as all of this.
So I just did some quick math in my head. So for every hour of work we do, we probably produce 2 pounds of food at a minimum from our farm. Which
that would be the minimum, because a lot, like a lot of the poundage of food comes once a year in pig butcher, cow butchering, which we haven't actually done yet. We came and learned at your place, and we might get to go to the clerks and help them if they're going to put their cow down soon. So we're waiting to see. But I think, that would add, if you divided that all out by the year, it would be well over 2 pounds.
Yeah, 2 pounds for every hour we work. That's just beef and poultry. That doesn't include pork and poultry. And now, I mean, once we put down a cow, I mean, it's probably going to be 5 pounds for every hour of work we do, averaged out over the year. For every hour of work, we produce 5 pounds of protein. So, I mean, where can you do that?
Yeah.
In your backyard. You can do that in your backyard.
I mean, what's ground beef cost these days? $6. So 5 pounds, that's $30.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm always saying that. They're saying the battle cry is there ain't no money in farming, but why do you guys keep saying it so much if it's true? Usually they only say stuff to kind of manipulate you to not farm.
There's no money in monocrop farming, and there's no money in monospecie farming.
That's
right.
true.
Yeah. We talked about that a couple minutes ago. You have to have one process that feeds off another process to get the full return on your investment.
I agree. I think we could do a day-long homesteading course, I bet. And you could have, 5 different processes, and we'd start with the first one. And then by the time we get to the end, everybody be able to see how they all feed each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be a dynamite class to do one of these days.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more question. What happens when things go wrong?
Oh, what happens
You
with the
keep going.
Yeah, don't quit. When our boar got stomped by the neighbor's horse, like
Yeah.
it was me and my boy out there, and that sucked big time.
I got a text message while I was at work, though. Our boar is dead.
Yeah.
It was
And
really,
then,
really awesome.
last fall, I'm at work and Amy calls me and goes, "Our cow's dead." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "The cow's dead. You need to come home from work."
I called Jill first, actually. I was like, what do I do? I have to feed my calf. Like, my cow's dead. And there was like this sketchy connection on the line. And she thought I just wanted to give the calf formula. So she's like, oh, yeah, go buy this, da, da, da. So I went to the store and she didn't like process it today that our cow had died. So anyway, and then I called him. I was like, you have to come home and bury this cow. It was October, but it was like 60 degrees out still.
So I came home from work, dug a shallow grave, and buried the cow and went back to work, and then sat around on our laurels going, what do we do? And then probably about November, December, we're like, we should get another dairy cow. And Amy came up with this idea of let's do a CSA to buy a cow, and people were throwing money at us left and right to help us get a cow.
That was really funny because I was like, this is what I think we do to pay for the cow. And he was like, you are not going to find 12 people who want to give you $100. And I was like,
we had people begging to get on a list.
I asked a couple friends to find out, would there be interest? Because after his reaction, I was like really nervous, like maybe it's not going to work. So I asked a couple close friends. I was like, would you guys, like, I'm not saying you have to, but like, would you feel like it's a good idea? And they were like, we want in. One family was like, can we buy 2 shares? We had one family that said, if there's any shares left over, we'll buy them all. Like, we believe in what you're doing. And there was left over. We actually have I posted on Facebook, like, hey, this is what we're doing. And within 2 hours, there was a waiting list.
How about that? Should have got 2 cows.
Yeah. And the deal was 12 families gave us $100. So that was enough to buy the cow. And then 4 times throughout the next year, they just get like a basket of food from our farm or other local farms. That's worth like 30 to 50. So they get between 120 and 200 back off their 100. But it was a good deal for us because we needed a cow like now. So we got a cow and there's been good response. Beth DeClerc took on the idea and she does it, in my opinion, way better than me. She like really put her creative juices into it. So we've actually been chatting about ideas for next year and how to make it better. So,
there's something about the homesteading community of people that kind of reminds me of a fertile homestead. Right? You have all of these organisms and they're all working for a common goal. And like you mentioned, Beth, she's just come up. Well, you've done the same thing too, Amy. You've just kind of come up with things that just change the direction of the movement or enhance the direction of the movement, I would say. It's sort of like a fertile group of people. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it. And it's exciting. I really want to be there. We are sadly out of time. I am supposed to keep this at 1 hour, and I'm going to try and comply with that. But I would like to take the parting shot here. Okay. Right. When we started Anyone Can Farm, we were chasing the buzz, right? Of when we did things, when we like got our first couple chickens. Oh, this is really cool. I still had a job. I'd come home from work just to watch the chickens. We really enjoyed what we were doing. Then we got further into it and people started to come our way and require instruction. And we were glad to do it. And then that sort of took the place of the buzz that I was getting off of just having my own chickens or having my own pig or whatever. So now it's like have people come into my life that say, I want to do this too. And they look to me, and it's actually it's a real special experience. It's kind of almost a spiritual experience, right? When you have able-bodied, nice people that you really like to hang around with saying, hey, show us how to do this. We want to do this. We want to go the same direction you're going. It is very heartwarming. And so like with you and several of the other young families, I've said, well, I think this is what you ought to do. And almost like Forrest Gump, you just said, okay, and went ahead and did it just on the faith of that I am telling you, that giving you the straight poop. And out of that, I think we're forging a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It would be resilient, a very resilient community, because I think as well as you've got these vital people that are doing the thing, then they have ideas, and then they branch off in other directions. We haven't even seen what would happen if there was hardship. We've not seen that yet. I mean,
Right.
a loss of a cow, you dealt with it, and it didn't stop you. So, yeah, I think this is a really good direction that we're going, and I'm so proud of the both of you. I love you kids.
Hey, thanks.
We love
Thanks,
you too.
Dad.
Yeah. I'm really proud of what you're doing, and I am looking forward to going off into the sunset with this.
All right.
So, I'm going to let you guys go, and then I will talk to the home audience. So I'm just going to cut you off, say goodbye to you, or I think maybe you got to cut out. How do we do that?
We'll leave. We hit the leave button apparently.
All right. You leave, and then I'll just be talking to my peeps.
All right.
Okay.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, good. Great. All right. Was that special? I thought that was really cool. I love those guys. We have so much fun. We get together to do real vital things. I mean, they've helped a lot of people in their circle with their homesteading needs. We get together, talk about real life things, and we have a blast at the same time. Our kids get together and have fun. It's just really a good thing. I wish I'd started this. Love all you bastards. Calling us a bunch of bastards. That's beautiful. All right. Well, this is great. I think this is the way to go. I think doing interviews like this is really, it's vital. It's vital. So if you think that you would like to be interviewed on the Anyone Can Farm live chat, there's a form you have to fill out in triplicate, and we'll probably turn it down, but you'd be looking for that form over on the anyonecanfarmexperience.com. And if you can't find it, say something and we'll tell you where to go. I tell you what, I don't know where to go because I don't have to do it, but it's over there someplace. And anything that's farm related, or hey, maybe not farm related. Joe got a call from a kid that's 14 years old, and he would like to be interviewed. And I thought that would be a really neat kind of human interest story, especially if the kid's parents are on board with it. I think that would be really neat. So excellent. It's 9:00. We've knocked out another great show. I appreciate everybody coming by. Let's have a look through the comments here and see who we got with us. We got Nancy's with us. Right on. Been showing up a little late there. What's going on? Brian Jacobs with us. Lacey Heron's with us. Andy Zumwalt's with us. Zumwalt, get in here. I love that. Crunchy Mama's with us. Jay-Z. I'll be seeing Jay-Z tomorrow. I think we're seeing Sonia tomorrow too for the soils class. Andy, it's only 900 miles. If you leave now, Inga, where are the Stumpos farm? It's close to you guys. I think they're in Muskegon. I think it's Muskegon. The clerk's with us. Right on. All right. Nice little family here. Appreciate you guys. Okay. So that's going to be it for the week. This weekend we have a class. The one and only Craig Schaff is going to be here to talk to us about soils. You do not want to miss it, but if you're going to miss it, then you're going to want to sign up for the Tribe Plus. The Tribe Plus. And that is on the anyonecanfarmexperience.com. Look around over there and it'll funnel you through to be in the Tribe Plus. You receive all kinds of stuff that's on there that is, products that we've produced for instructions to homesteading and additional information, product codes, all kinds of cool stuff. And it's coming in waves. All right. It's coming in waves. And if you are a member, then you are welcome to that stuff. So like the class this weekend, it's going to be audio taped. And, if you're a member of the Tribe Plus, you will have access to it. So you could come to the class. The in-person class is $97, includes lunch, and we have a good time. I mean, it's worth it for sure. Or you just buy a membership in the Tribe Plus, which is $14.99 a month, and you get all the stuff that is there. Plus, you get access to me on Wednesday nights via Zoom call. If you want to come, you just sign up for it. Come ask all the questions you want. So it's really good access. I mean, I stay on for about an hour on Wednesday night with the people that come and want to ask questions. Hey, if I do consulting with you, like you call up and you want to call to do consulting, we charge $100 an hour. But this way, it's $15 a month. And you don't generally need a whole hour with me. And like Justin was saying last night, he says, no, I just tune in because I want to hear what other people are going to ask, because there's always good information that's flowing. And make no mistake here, we're a military family, and we strongly believe in training our replacements. Okay. I have asked people to go the direction that I went, take over, because I'm going to go do something else. I'm not sure what that is yet, but the Anyone Can Farm Homestead Hog Harvest, we've got the Clerics doing it this year. We've got Trombley's doing it this year. We're going to help them with that. It's going to be their first one. We're going to help the Clerics with it. But hopefully it'll be their second time through. This will be their first time going through as hosts. But hopefully they'll be able to take it over full time, and Beth and Tommy can do it next year on their own. Hopefully. Not saying it's a sure thing. I mean, it's the responsible thing to do, to say to your trainer, hey, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And as a trainer, I would say, cool, let's do it again. I mean, that's how we do things in the military community. I don't want you to just say, oh yeah, I got it, and then fall on your face. If you don't have it, sometimes it takes a couple, 3 times to run through a protocol before you totally understand it. And I would much rather have you say to me, I don't have it yet. Can we do it one more time? Sure, we'll do it one more time. I mean, the way it's set up, when me and Jill go down to the Clerics, we're getting paid to do it. We are getting some of the proceeds from that class. I mean, I'm not supposed to pull back the curtain too far on this, but it's not out of the goodness of our heart. We are able to train people up to take our replace us. But we're not independently wealthy. I mean, there has to be a fair exchange, and that's one of the things that we are always talking about, is a fair exchange. I mean, when they come out and say something like there ain't no money in farming, which I bet you can Google that right now and you will find all kinds of stuff on that. My personal feeling about that these days is a bunch of people sit down and they think of something to say like that that will permeate the masses of people. And when the notion of farming comes up, you know, the first thing that comes out of someone's mouth is, well, there ain't no money in farming. Oh, really? Right? And you know all about that, right? I remember I was in high school and I had thought that I would like to be a farmer. It looked good to me, or a pilot. I remember my homeroom teacher saying, well, get up real early in the morning and go to bed real late at night for nothing. He said that to me. I remember it, Mr. Foley, great guy, but he didn't know anything about farming. We didn't live in a farm community. I don't know where he got that from, but he did. And then I got scared off from being a pilot because you had to take a bunch of shots. I hated shots. I wound up getting a bunch of them anyway, and I didn't get to be a pilot. But anyway, let's see what happened. Something happened to Luann here. I'm seeing everybody saying, oh, that's too bad. Oh. Someone broke into my storage unit and stole things. It's a rough one. You know, folks, I think that if we're going this direction anyway, and we're farming, we're going to homestead, I think now is a good time to take a critical look at the amount of calories that you go through in a week, and try to formalize in your mind what it would take to replace that. You know, if you had to do it on your own, because right now food is pretty easy to come by in the United States of America. We just go down to the store, and if we don't have money, there's other ways we can get food, you know, but that is not necessarily how it could be in the future. We would not be the first society that had food shortages. We wouldn't be the first one. We won't be the last. I have heard some rumblings from reliable sources about an extended famine. I've heard that. And I'm already seeing supply line disruption. I'm seeing disruption of the family unit. Very bad. Most families have some sort of division in them. I know my family does. And it's because, well, we believe this way and they believe that way. And so there's a family division. Not good. It's not a good thing. Jeremy Huggins, you were in the Air Force? I thought everyone was a pilot. I might as well just go around and say, yeah, I was a pilot. I flew F-37s. Sure. Might as well. I knew this guy. He was at the old folks home over here I used to visit. And when I first met him, he was a crew chief on a B-17, but he went downhill pretty fast. And by the time I said goodbye to him, he moved to a different old folks home in a different state. He was a tail gunner on a B-17. Yep. And I asked him what it was like. I don't know what it's like to be a tail gunner on a B-17. But my father actually was an engineer on a B-17. He actually was. There's no joke. He really was. So he would be the guy that was standing behind the pilots. There was a place you stood there, and right above you, there was a bubble, right? It was actually a turret, and there was two 50 caliber machine guns in there. So you stood up there and you scanned the skies, and when, you know, the Messerschmitts started flying in, you fired at them. You and everybody else on that airplane was firing at them. So he actually did that. Yep. We used to watch this show called 12 O'Clock High. And my father would be like, you guys have to be quiet. Be quiet now. 12 O'Clock High. Yep. It's about flying missions over in Europe on B-17s. Anyway, yeah, Luann's asking me, did you get to listen to Penny's video? I did. And it was a little disturbing. A little disturbing. If you guys want some intel, I mean, I can't really vouch for this gal. I don't know her, but she's from Michigan. She's got a pretty good history in the truther community, and she is an intuitive person, right? And she's able to look in the rear view mirror and look forward and saying, well, we're probably going to wind up here. She's just a smart person. She's intuitive, maybe somewhat clairvoyant. I don't know. And Luann sends me her videos pretty routinely. And the one that I heard today is her Look See. It's called Look See. You can find her on BitChute. Name's Penny Kelly. And if you go and listen to it, she even sets it up and she says, look, I'm not going to be giving you a bunch of good information here. And, you know, I come away from hearing that and I'm still optimistic about the direction of our country. I mean, it's pretty obvious that we have people who do not like the United States. They do not like what we stand for. And they're trying to tear it down. They might want to turn it into a socialist nation. Okay. Will they succeed? I don't think they will, because people who are doers and who like to work and are generally honest people want to keep what they make. They work harder, they make more, they can have a better quality of life. The socialist mindset is, no, you guys have to work hard, but we have to take your money so we can have it. And we don't want to work. We just want to get fat, right? So I don't like the socialists too well. I don't like the socialist mindset. It seems like it's a little twisted, and I really don't care for it. They usually tend to gravitate towards victimization, like they've been victimized. And usually what it is they're lazy. They don't want to work. Or, oh, my back, you know. And I don't care for that too much. So I like Penny Kelly. Who knows? If you listen to this video, who knows? But she says that there are warring factions right now. And I believe that is true. You're watching the alliance forces and then the deep state force. They are fighting each other. We're just kind of spectators. You know, it's sort of like if you were in Berlin during the war. Yeah, you might be German, but I'm not a combatant, and they're dropping bombs on you in Berlin. You know, you're just kind of in the middle of it. Like, I didn't vote to get in this war. It's not, I work over there at that shop. You know, I don't know about this. And that's kind of where we are right now. A lot of us maybe have worked in the military, but, you know, we only saw a little sliver of what was going on. Yeah, things are a little rough out there. And in Penny's presentation, I did see hope in the fact that if you come out of the big cities where there's going to be mayhem and you are able to take care of yourself, you're able to create your own food, create your own recreation, enjoy your life, but not be too dependent on the system that's out there. And you might be wondering, well, what do you mean by the system? I mean, any place that didn't want you coming through their doors unless you had a face mask on, you probably want to think twice about depending on them. There was a while there where I wasn't going to go back into Harbor Freight. I mean, I don't go in there that much anyway, but I thought, hell with them. I mean, I don't like being pestered by lowlifes telling me to put a mask on. I never did. I just ignored them and they'd go away. But I thought, you know, I'm not going to give them my money. And I know the kids are saying, well, I'm just doing my job. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be doing that job. I don't know. But it might be a good idea over the next few years to just make the decision, I'm going to become as self-sufficient as I possibly can, which means, do you know how to do stuff? Do you know how to fix the equipment that you use to do your stuff? You know, you'd be surprised. All the stuff that we have that when we break, it breaks, we just get a new one. But It might not work that way. I have over the years, a lot of this came from my time in the military. Is, believe it or not, in a really high dollar world of the United States Air Force, a lot of our equipment, they would opt for putting a guy on the end of a handle to crank a bomb up into place than to rely on a motor to do it. That's just an example. But a lot of the stuff that we do, when we would put bombs on B-52s, we would lift them up and get them close, but then it was by hand from there. You know, you hit a crank over here and a ratchet over here, and it would move it and then clip it in place. So, yeah, Penny is a farmer too. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. Luann says, my husband was a great one to embellish a story, cracked me up. Well, he was Navy though. So, I mean, they have to embellish it or else they would all just commit suicide. She is a farmer too. Yes, Kelly is. Penny Kelly is a farmer too. I'd like to meet her sometime. I think it would be a really nice time to just sit and have a chat with her. Okay. Nancy's saying, I had a friend of mine finally see why I started farming. Was good. They woke up. It's not too late. Yeah, it's never too late. It is never too late. I think if you woke up today about the possibilities, you could do a lot of preparation in a very short time. Very short time. I have these premonitions. I have premonitions. I think I am somewhat intuitive, but I don't think it's, some waves that are coming into my brain. I think it has a lot to do with, it's sort of like rowing a boat. I do a lot of row, I have a boat and I row a lot. I like rowing instead of a motor. And when I want to go to a point over here, I turn around and look at it, and then I turn right back around and I look at a tree over here, and I know that they're lined up. So I keep that one in sight as I'm going, and it keeps me from getting way off track. And occasionally I have to turn around and look, am I really going the right direction? But generally it keeps me going. So I think that's where intuition comes from. It's like, well, I've been doing this for a long time, and when this happens, usually this is going to happen. Wow, you're intuitive. No, I just don't live in a cubicle all day and never hear the wind blow or the leaves rustle or smell. I'm the luckiest guy. I am the luckiest guy to have the job that I have. But I've created this. And Jeremy, you're creating it. That's what you're doing. All right. So I'm going to get going. I appreciate people coming by. I really appreciate the stumps. It's the Stumpos, by the way. I just call them the stumps. They're going in a great direction. I think they'd be great people to follow. There was some information. Okay, it's we're on Facebook and Instagram at Stumpos Abundant Acres. Okay, Stumpos Abundant Acres. So you could go there and look at pictures and all kinds of stuff. By the way, I'm probably going to share this next week, but I got a tag on Facebook from Amy Bacher. You remember the family that was staying next door at the campground? They came for a couple days and wound up staying 3 weeks. And I want to read it through a couple more times before I share it with you guys, because I want to get a good feeling for what it's about. But she referred to her time staying with us as life-changing. right? And I had met them out at Sean's place in Texas, and Mike told me that his next step after being a nomad was probably the homestead, and so he was real interested in what we were doing, and we got an instant rapport going. Real nice guy. And anyway, she put this post on her Facebook, and it was just really nice. She took some time to write this, and it sort of encapsulated the experience. And the experience wasn't a one-way experience. You know, these people were way different than us when they got here, and we had to get used to them. They had to get used to us, and after a while, it started to groove, and we just had a really nice time. Really nice time. They stayed 3 weeks. I didn't think they'd leave. I really didn't. I kept saying, stay another week. What's another week? But they had something they had to go do. I'm really looking forward to seeing them back. One of these days, I know they'll be back. And but I'm going to share that with you next week. Or if you want to see it, just go on Facebook and find me, just Mark Baker on Facebook, and then you'll be able to see this post that Amy Bacher put up. Or you can find Amy Bacher and be friends with her. It's really nice. A lot of really nice pictures that she took. She compiled a whole bunch of pictures over the 3 weeks. Very touching. Actually got a little bit of moisture here right in the corner of my eye. I'll share it with you next week, probably next Tuesday. Not exactly sure the direction we're going next Tuesday. We have the class this coming weekend with Craig Schaff. Look, I highly recommend that you come to this. Highly recommend, because everything on the homestead begins with the soil. If you have poor soil, you can change it, but you just have to know how to do it. Right? You just have to know how to do it. And it's a bunch of steps. And Craig Schaff is real good about that stuff. He's a great storyteller. He is a great teacher. Puts things in perspective. I am really looking forward to it. I look forward to classes that we do here anyway, even if it's something I'm not interested in, because of the people that show up. It's just always fun. It's right here at my house. And I think this was going to be really good. Really good. All right, so what do we got here? Luann is saying, intuition comes from your knowing, which is connected to your heart, which is your Geiger counter. Jeremy says, optimism, our situation is similar to press polk. Pressed pork? Optimism, our situation is similar to pressed pork. Press polk? All right, what do you mean here, Jeremy? Sorry for the botched post. My connection is horrible. I don't want to hear any excuses, Airman. It's funny calling a chief airman, but it's true. On my profile page, I wrote United States Air Force Airman. And I like that. I like that a lot better than technical sergeant. I like it because I am an airman. My pay grade is another thing. I don't care about my pay grade anymore. That's not, but I am still a United States Air Force Airman, retired. I like that. Remember, we used to call each other airmen all the time. Airman! Airman Zumwalt, get in here! What fun. What a good time. You guys miss being in the Air Force? I really do. I really do. It was such a good time. Most of the time. Most of the time. All right, I'm going to get going, you guys. Appreciate everybody coming by. We had a really good crowd tonight. Hopefully we see you this weekend. But in lieu of that, join up the... Oh, Melissa. All right. Well, come look us up. I can hook you. I know where there's a place right now. Right now. It's in Tustin. Tustin. And there's another place over in Leroy. That is the area that I would go if I were to leave this area. But I'm not leaving this area. But either way, look us up and let us get your contact info. So I'm always looking for properties. And when they come up, I love to see people get into, kind of neat properties. And often the homesteading community will see beauty in other people's cast-offs. A lot of people want, it's got to have it's got to have 4 bathrooms, and each one of them has got to have a bidet. Can't do without a bidet. All right, here's what Jeremy. Okay. In tonight's show, I posted that our current situation reminds me of President Polk's situation to some degree. If history repeats itself, it will be interesting to see who Little Hickory is in the future. May God bless you and yours. I'll have to look into that, brother, because I'm not up to speed on that, but I will look into it. Little Hickory. All right. Got to get going. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. Remember, anyone can farm. Time to get after it. Get out there, boys and girls.